It's me, Reba, at your service. I've been wanting to do this for a while and finally got my little situation set up. Basically, I have a lot of thoughts and I figured why not share them. If you know me, you know that I do a lot of things. I am a filmmaker, I'm a musician, I write, I dance, I play, I travel. I also teach, and I also run a business. So today's Thursday, and I'm wearing the color yellow. And a friend of mine suggested that I wear orange and yellows on Thursdays to tap into the frequency of abundance, the energy of Jupiter. Jupiter rules my chart. And to celebrate life and to just go out and have fun and play and connect. And today when I woke up, I was like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I don't know. This is just what my brain does. I have these ideas and I just do them. I just listen, it's fine, it's cool. The reason why I wanted to start making videos is just because I feel like usually in my head there's a lot of dot connecting for me that helps link all the things that I do that most people don't see. There is a reason why I'm working on a podcast at the same time that I'm working on an album, at the same time that I'm working on a feature film. And so I thought, why not just take some time, I don't know, once a month, once a week, whenever I feel like it, to just kind of let you know what's going on in my world. And maybe it'll help you connect the dots in your life too. What have I been thinking about recently? A couple of nights ago, my brother and my best friend, who's also my business partner and my brother's girlfriend, had a conversation with me. I kind of sat them down and was like, I can't seem to figure out what the next steps are. Like, I've done a lot of clearing. I've had to release a ton of shit from my life, people, friends, relationships, etc. And I'm proud of myself for doing that, and I feel clear and I feel ready to move forward. And then I'll sit down ready to go to the next thing, and I literally just don't know what to do. And they were kind of confused about why I was confused, which is the thread. That's something that happens a lot. What they started sharing with me was around moving differently, putting yourself in the frequency of this new person you're becoming and then seeing what happens. So I'm someone who's super organized, and I'm someone who loves to plan. I'm someone who has a million planners and notebooks. The logical part of my mind definitely is always wanting to just come up with a to-do list. Or thinks that the more to-do lists I have, somehow the better my life is going to be. Right now, every single habit that I have to kind of throw in the trash and do differently. What's exciting about that is that I get to be really experimental and try new things. And I think there's also something really empowering about not only acknowledging when shit in your life isn't working, but actually doing something about it. And I feel like I've been acknowledging it for a long time and not doing anything about it, not because I don't want to, but because I just couldn't figure out the mechanics. I'm realizing that we will and when I say we, I mean humans, we can talk ourselves into circles about anything. We can talk ourselves into doing things, we can talk ourselves out of doing things, we can talk ourselves into thinking that we're right about things that we're not right about. We can talk ourselves into believing that habits are good for us when they're not. We're really fucking powerful. breaking out of habits, like actively choosing to do things differently in your life, is not something that is easy. And I think most people really struggle with that because it's a huge ego check, first of all. And second of all, once you have a habit and that habit is like backed by a belief system or something, it's hard to actually do the little things differently. So a couple weeks ago, I wrote an essay on my blog about uncertainty. And I talked about different ways that we try to exercise control over situations that we literally can't control. The universe that we live in, the lives that we live, the world that we live in is naturally chaotic, right? And I feel like we're always creating systems and structures, trying to create some sort of regularity or comfort or habit or something that feels good to anchor us. But they're all the wrong things. I think that we're so deeply brainwashed by capitalism that we forget other rhythms, other cycles that are wise and that can guide us and that aren't so painful on the system and on the spirit and on the soul. So I'm thinking about the first episode of my podcast that I did with my friend Winter, and she was talking about earth wisdom, and she was talking about the 7 directions and also the seasons and how she organizes her life based on the seasons. So thinking up ideas, resting, incubating during the winter time, planting seeds during the spring, activating during the summer, harvesting those ideas, reaping the rewards of the work done throughout the year in the fall. And it's like, for me, that feels so much more natural than, oh, this is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 broken up into these months, and these are my target goals for those quarters, with just a long list of random to-do lists, because I just feel like I'm just going to put everything that I can think of on a paper and just try to get it all done. Like, that gives me anxiety. I can't do that. And yet that's what I've been doing my whole life, that I'm trying to divest from now. And something I actually have been really wanting to do for a while is go back to each of the ideas that I went through in that podcast and go deeper to kind of integrate some of the lessons that I learned from the people that I interviewed. We did 6 episodes. Eventually we will do more. I need more podcast production support on that, so hit me up if you want to do that. Hit me up if you like audio editing. Hit me up if you have a jingle, all that kind of stuff. But if I can kind of bring all of these random thoughts and ideas back together, I think that we all face the reality of uncertainty because it's part of being human. And we want so badly to find something to control that will make us feel safe in that uncertainty. And the ways that we try to anchor ourselves through that uncertainty are just so wrong and so off, and also really violent to our bodies, violent to the earth. But like, we're so embedded in it that it's, it's that hamster wheel thing where it's like, how do I get off? 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 I have to keep going. If I don't keep going, I'm going to lose everything. My life's going to fall apart. My job's going to fall apart. My blood. Meanwhile, mental health, completely going to shit. You might have like the perfect dream job, whatever. But like, are you well? Are you well on this hamster wheel? And I know everybody's going to do things in their own time, and everyone has to do things in their own time. But I'm really committed to thinking about these things and thinking about these things in public and talking about these things in public so that we can at least start to like be in conversation with one another of yeah, it's normal that I feel crazy in this 9 to 5 grind. It's not natural to my body. Even just unraveling childhood wounds in your relationships and having the courage to be like, wow, I've been an asshole to everyone I've dated in my entire life. Yikes, that really sucks. But I also would rather be in the uncertainty of not knowing who I could be on the other side of that and who I really am outside of that than be so afraid of uncertainty that I end up holding on to those toxic habits just to know what's going to happen. It takes a lot of courage to let shit fall apart. It takes a lot of courage to say, I'm not even gonna try to hold it all together right now. I'm gonna collapse. I'm gonna see where the pieces fall. And once they've fallen and the dust has settled, I'm gonna look at the little shapes and see what they're telling me and how I might be able to put them back together in a form that's more sustainable. But to constantly be in this like, oh, I'm just gonna try to hold it all together. I'm just gonna, it's manic. And at some point, you're gonna be burned out. You're gonna be unhappy. And it's just not it. Everyone in their own way, no matter how together or how not together they look on paper, is going through their individual life lessons and their individual challenges. And most people are doing it silently on their own, feeling like they can't talk about it to other people, feeling like they need to isolate. One of the biggest lessons that I'm learning right now is that you don't have to hide yourself while you're healing. Like, even if you're a leader, even if you're someone who has to hold space for other people or show up in a particular way, there is power in walking people through your own process and showing them how you self-regulate, how you take care of your body and your spirit in the moments that are challenging. I am someone who definitely has isolated myself and felt like if I'm someone who's supposed to hold space for other people, then when I'm going through it, I need to just disconnect. Nobody's gonna see me cry. I don't need to show any of this. I need to be strong, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, doesn't work. We're throwing that out. We're leaving that in the past. At least we're trying to leave that in the past. And it's been cool because I feel like, everything I do is becoming more vulnerable and vulnerable while I'm moving through it versus vulnerable 6 months to a year after I've processed it, perfected it, come up with all the resolutions, understood all the blessings that came from it, and then I can throw it out, in that pretty package. Instead, I'm trying to just, okay, now I'm breathing, actually walking through my process. And what's coming from that is a great deal of like freedom and fluidity and flow. And last week I was trying to, because I'm self-employed, I set my own schedule, I freelance, I do all these things, but everything's my own schedule. And sometimes I'll put things on a calendar and like divide up my days in a really rigid way because I think that's going to make me feel more anchored and more structured. When in reality, what I actually need is to know these are the 2 things I need to do every day. I need to pray or meditate or both, and I need to do something for my body. If those are the 2 things that I do, then who cares what order I do anything else in? I'm lucky in that I've set up my life in a certain way where I can be flexible, and if I want to create a podcast today, I can. If I want to start a YouTube channel today, I'm gonna do it. And so why do we feel like we have to set such rigid structures in order to quote unquote be productive? So I'm learning personally how to work smarter. I'm learning personally how to listen better to my body every single day and let that guide me. I haven't figured out anything, but I am trying. I will continue to try, and I'll continue to let you know how that's going.
Yes!
So you can also try it. Actually, let me know what you're trying. I would love to know. And I'm really wishing you well. These are for you.